Hey, Wimberg World Entertainment. James Bond, of course, is now at Amazon, and for 60 years, we've known him a certain way. James Bond, 007, with his iconic Walter PPK in hand. That image is as legendary as the character himself for all of us. It was a symbol of, danger and sophistication and deadly style. But, in the eyes of Amazon, it seems the world's most famous secret agent, James Bond, of course, has become too dangerous for his own movie posters. Because on the Prime Video service, they have quietly gone back and scrubbed the guns from 007's hands. And as you'd expect, fans are pretty furious about this. And this isn't a fan theory or some rumour. It's a blatant act of corporate censorship that is actively trying to rewrite a piece of cinema history. So let's break down exactly what they did and why it matters, and what it says about the state of corporate run entertainment, because this is ridiculous. Now, we knew Warner Brothers took action figures to the stage where if a character in a movie or show or whatever had weapons, they removed the weapons. So when they were putting out the figures off Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad, people were realizing, wait a minute, why do the characters not have weapons in their hand? They were given sticks and things like that, or they just didn't have a weapon. Now Amazon has done the exact same thing. And it's not to one poster, it's not to a couple of posters, it's to every single one of the James Bond posters. So you'll be seeing them throughout this whole thing. And it was someone called Spy Hard. So their account on X updated the posters, and they seemingly are the ones who found it. So the article here says Amazon is catching backlash again from 007 fans, this time for quietly editing classic James Bond movie posters on Prime Video and removing Bond's gun. As shared by the Spy Hard's account on X, updated poster artwork for nearly every Bond film now omits Bond holding a gun. This includes posters for classics like Goldfinger, Thunderball, GoldenEye, and Skyfall, among others. The guns have simply been photoshopped out or through the use of AI. And this is what it wrote. One fan wrote in response saying, "Welcome to a world where promoting James Bond 007 needs to be done without his sidearm." And what's funny about this as well is when you see the Spectre poster, he's got the holster on. So he's standing there. You have Daniel Craig's version of James Bond standing there with his gun holster on his person, except the actual gun in it. So it's just like, what are you doing, Amazon? Like, this is ridiculous. The GoldenEye image was, of course, quite famous. That stance from Pierce Brosnan, because he's meant to be holding the Walter PPK. Then, of course, you see Dr. No as well. That was also the famous image of James Bond holding the Walter PPK. And it goes on and on and on. And they've just removed the gun from every single image. And it's like, why? What are you trying to tell us by doing this? Like, a character that has a license to kill, and you're removing the guns. Like, what are you supposed to do when you get a movie called The Man with the Golden Gun? It's like, okay, how's that supposed to work now then? It's so stupid. And this is Amazon at what they're just going nuts. Oh, we can't have guns and stuff. And it's like, but it's James Bond. Like, that's the whole point. He doesn't walk in and, like, berate people with harsh words. He doesn't send in a harshly written letter. He's the secret agent, a 00 status with a license to kill. So now some of you might be thinking it's just a poster. What's the big deal? And if this were an isolated incident, you might have a point, but it's not. This feels like a symptom of a much larger disease spreading through entertainment. So why is this happening, and why does it matter so much? Because first off, it's a fundamental betrayal of the character's history. James Bond isn't just a well-dressed man who likes martinis. No. He's a government-sanctioned assassin. A blunt instrument. With a license to kill. The gun, specifically the Walther PPK, of course, is an extension of his identity. And in Ian Fleming's novels, Bond switched to the PPK from an underpowered Beretta was a major plot point, because it was prompted by firearms expert Jeffrey Buterod, I think is how you pronounced his name, who called his previous weapon a lady's gun. And the PPK was chosen for its sleek design and deadly efficiency, and it all went together perfectly. So the result is a bizarre form of corporate vandalism, basically, that leaves these iconic images looking like cheap ads for a clothing store, and it really does. Instead of a super spy ready for action, Bond looks like he's posing for a department store catalogue. The new posters as well are bland, they're sterile and totally devoid of the danger and excitement that defines the franchise, and fans have called the new artwork absolutely barbaric. So it's not like they're looking at this going, I'm okay with it. It really is this, what did they do and why did they do this? And we're seeing this a lot now. As I said, Warner Brothers did remove the guns and stuff from the action figures and even the collectible statues, like the Hot Toys stuff, the 1 in 6s and the 1 in 10s and all this stuff. They started to tell them, oh, we don't want them to have guns. It's like, but that's what the character is. Like Bloodsport, or Bloodsport, sorry, he was coming out and it was like, oh, he can't have his guns. It's like, but that's the whole point of his characters, the gun. Oh yeah, but he can't have them. And then Deadshot, of course, Will Smith's character in the first movie, he can't have his guns. It's like, what do you mean? That's literally his character. He is the perfect marksman. What are you talking about? He can't have the gun. So it really is a pathetic attempt by Amazon to disarm Bond. And it ends up more than just a clumsy Photoshop job. It is an insult to the character and an insult to the fans, and a worrying sign of the times. It's a clear signal that corporate entitles believe they have the right to rewrite cultural history to fit a sanitized, politically correct and ultimately bland narrative. So this isn't about making the world safer. It's about control. It's about a handful of powerful companies deciding what is and what isn't acceptable for us to see, the paying customer. And it's going to be interesting, like, okay, you removed it off of this. When you put out your next movie, are you going to have him unarmed, not just on the poster, but throughout the movie? It's going to be really interesting to see. And the fact that they've only recently come out and said the person they want for Bond has to be young, 6 foot something, and has the look of a blunt instrument. That's what they said flat out. And it's like, but at the same time, we're going to censor them and remove all the guns from the posters. So stupid. Absolutely stupid. And again, it's this idea that, oh, we can censor it because we own it now. And it's like, but you're just going to get backlash. You're going to get criticized for this. And you've just made the posters sterile. They're bland. They're boring. More importantly, they're boring. There's nothing exciting about them. They're just really are like this idea of, yeah, you're pretty much like selling the suit rather than the man and what he is. It's ridiculous. But let me know what you think of this whole thing of censoring out the guns from the posters. Does it bother you as much as it bothers the rest of us? Do you care? Do you think it is overreach from these corporations? Let us know, because if they're doing this with the posters, imagine what they're going to do with the movies. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button, hit the hype button, all the buttons. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.